Hey guys, welcome to our next episode of Fish Species Spotlight, and today we are covering Hengel's Rasbora or Trigonostigma hengeli. Now these fish are a very interesting small schooling Rasbora. They originate from the countries of typically from Sumatra, Indonesia, Borneo. They inhabit smaller type blackwater rivers and tributaries. They typically are found over sandy bottoms with some branchy submerged wood, leaf litter, and so forth. Typical pH values that they're found at are from 5 to 6.5, temperature range of about 25 to 27 degrees Celsius, or for those of us that think in Fahrenheit, 77 to 81 degrees. And of course, the KH range is somewhere between 1 and 5 DKH. So they are typically a softer water and more acidic water loving fish. Now, in terms of their behavior, size, community, applications, it's as follows. Basically, they're a smaller schooling species. The color enhancement or the color standout on these fish are definitely the upside down hockey stick that varies from a bright fluorescent orange to a really nice reflective copper sheen. It's a very attractive species. They typically do best in longer type aquariums where you're going to involve them in a community tank setup. 10 to 20 fish is a typical type school you'd want to keep them in, and that would mean a 20 to a 40 gallon tank. Now when you're setting up a species specific tank, as we've done today in a cube type planted tank with some driftwood, there you can definitely go a school of about 8 to 12 fish, in a 15 to 20 gallon tank would be comfortable. The typical size of them is around 1 inch, maybe a little bit more, meaning around 2.5 centimeters. Males are a little bit slimmer, females are a little bit bulkier, a little bit fuller bodied, and you can also discern the males too by some of the displays that they tend to show at each other in a group of fish. What do you mix them with? Well, you mix them with other dwarf to nano species. Pencil fish are a good tank mate for them. Corridor's cats for the bottom of the tank are another good one. You can keep them with smaller Apistogramma cichlids too. Some of those dwarfs are actually a great tank mate for them as well. Now, in terms of lighting, you want to make sure to keep it a little bit dimmer, nothing more than medium type lighting for them if you want to present them in their best color, and you want to keep them in a relaxed state, which is typically advisable to do. When it comes to plants, they are good for a planted tank. However, if you're going to keep them in lower lighting conditions, then you want to make sure that you keep them with plants such as Microsorum, Anubias, different types of cryptocremes. Those are the best type of plants to keep them with when you're keeping them in dimmer lighting conditions. There are, of course, other examples. Now, when it comes to feeding them, well, they're not a fussy feeder at all. They are a typical Rasbora with their mouth centered in the center part of their head in the front, meaning they typically prefer to feed on mid-water column, while they will dart up to the surface to get various types of foods. Feeding in the middle of the water column is really what their preference is. And when it comes to foods, well, not a fussy feeder. So sinking microgranules or smaller granules like fluval bug bites, for example, great food for these fish. Flake foods, freeze-dried foods, smaller frozen foods, these are all things that you should vary into their diet too. But they, like I said, do prefer the middle of the water column. Now when it comes to water conditions, temperature as in the wild, approximately 78 to 82 degrees, ballpark 25 to 28 degrees C. You can have a little bit more range in there, of course. KH range, if you want to breed them, should be really between 1 and 5 DKH, even more like 2 or 3. And of course, pH, well, you want to keep them in a range of 5 to 6.5. I would really prefer 6 to 6.5 for them, for typical keeping purposes in a tank. A little bit easier to keep them in stable water conditions that way. Provide them with a kind of a stained looking water, amber colored. Put some almond leaves in the tank. That typically helps. A little bit of peat in the filter, another good addition for them. So in summary, it's a hardy Rasbora. They, of course, out of the three that look very similar, which is the Trigonostigma sp and the Heteromorpha, my preference is really the hengeli. The contrasting bright pattern that they show, very attractive in a school of fish. So there you go, guys. Another very peaceful, easy to keep Rasbora, another great schooling fish. You guys got any additional species you'd like us to cover, please leave them in the commentary below. We've much appreciated that. We've accumulated quite a list already. Any other commentary, please address us below. Don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. Thanks a lot for watching.